Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome to the architecture of Hitman World of Assassination. In this series of videos, we are going to look at the architecture of Hitman, the World of Assassination. So if you're not familiar, back in 2016, the Hitman franchise was rebooted with the game Hitman, just Hitman. And then after that, they made two more games using the same game engine, Hitman 2 and Hitman 3. And then after that, they basically, because they used more or less the same game engine, they put all three games into Hitman 3, and then they rebranded that as Hitman World of Assassination. And so now here we are with this. So this series of videos will be the whole trilogy, Hitman 1, Hitman 2, and Hitman 3. Alright, cool. And again, if you're not familiar, the game Hitman, or the whole franchise, is about stealth and assassination. And not only that, it's about infiltrating rich and powerful and corrupt people and assassinating bad people in exotic locations around the world. Sorry about that. Yeah, and so because we are going to exotic locations and murdering fancy people with a lot of money, that's part of the appeal of the game series, is like you're kind of subverting these really rich people and their fancy lives, right? And so because they have fancy lives, there's interesting architecture. Unfortunately, the game starts off with not so fancy architecture. We are in the ICA Training Facility. The game begins with two tutorial levels, and in this video we'll go through both of them. The first part is this place, this yacht. So we have to murder somebody on this yacht. And the training facility, where are we? We are inside a giant concrete cylinder, and it's open to the sky. So it's not a real yacht, it's a concrete cylinder, and then inside the yacht they have built a mock-up of a yacht inside the concrete cylinder. So it's not a real thing, but nevertheless it's interesting enough for us to take a look at, architecturally speaking. First of all, what is this concrete drum? I don't know what this is. So there are a number of different things this could be, like a big concrete cylinder. I mean, first of all, let's look around. There are pipes. There are bits and pieces of machinery, and then there, above my head, that looks like a corridor. It looks like a walkway and a corridor, and there's one there as well. That's been cut off, or it's broken off for some reason. Not sure why that would be there. And then up there, that appears to be a crane, right? So there's a crane, there's like broken corridors, but it's not really broken, it's more like it's been cut off. And there's pipes. It doesn't really make any sense to me. So what could it be? So it could be a purpose-built training facility for the ICA. The ICA is the assassination outfit that we belong to. But if you want a training facility for a group of assassins, you probably wouldn't need to build a giant concrete cylinder for that. Right, what usually happens is, like, you would, but I don't know, I'm not an assassin, but I would assume that what usually happens is you just buy a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and then you just set up your training facility there. That's usually what happens, right? You just kind of find some place out in the wilderness, far away from anyone else. You wouldn't need to like build a giant concrete structure to house this thing. So if it's just a training facility for a group of assassins, the giant concrete cylinder seems too much of an investment, right? So another possibility is that it is some sort of disused industrial facility, which it looks like an industrial facility, right? You have the dirty concrete, you have the exposed pipes. It looks quite industrial, but exactly what kind of industry has a big concrete cylinder like this? Not too sure. Not too sure. The thing that this most resembles is a cooling tower, which you usually find in power plants, thermal power plants, but also in some other facilities where you need a lot of cooling. And if you look down here, hold on, let me just move a little bit. Let me just get back here. You see that, and then you see those metal legs down there. So usually you have metal legs and concrete drum like this in a cooling tower. If you like imagine like a power plant, the typical image of a nuclear power plant. You have these big concrete kind of tubes going up, and then you have kind of steam coming out the top. Those are cooling towers. What happens is you spray water inside the tower, and the air would convect upwards because it's hot water, right, by the way. So the hot water coming out of the power plant, you need to cool it. You spray it into the space. The water kind of evaporates, and it kind of pushes the air up inside the tower, and kind of the air kind of flows in and up and pulls the heat out and into the sky. Basically, it's how the cooling towers work. The thing about the cooling towers is they have that distinctive parabolic shape, because that's how you have efficient airflow. Because you don't have to have the parabolic shape, you can just have like a straight cylinder, but the airflow is more efficient if it is parabolic like that. And if we look up here, this tower is not parabolic, right? No, it just goes straight up and down. So if it is a cooling tower, it's not very efficient, first of all, and secondly, these pipes don't really make sense. Definitely not the corridors. They don't make sense in a cooling tower. So the shape, the size of it, it kind of makes sense as a cooling tower, and especially these metal structures. The cooling towers sit on these metal legs because the bottom of it needs to be open. So the fact that the bottom is closed, I mean, you could just close it off, but if it was a cooling tower, it wouldn't be closed. It would need to be open because the air needs to flow in, right? So it kind of looks like a cooling tower, but it's also kind of not, so I'm not sure if it is that. This could be a disused military facility. There are big concrete structures in military facilities. We could be underground, by the way. We don't see what's outside the giant concrete cylinder. Like, the ground could be up there, and we could be underground. So there are missile silos, but this seems too wide to be a missile silo. It could be a missile silo. We don't know. It could be an underground helicopter base, and the helicopters would fly out the top. I've never seen an underground helicopter base like this, though. But then, I mean, military facilities usually are secret, and so you wouldn't actually get to visit them very much. I have seen pictures of underground aircraft hangars, but they're not like this. They're more like these caves. Underground aircraft hangars, the idea is you would survive a nuclear strike, and then you would send the planes out and retaliate. But they don't open at the top, they open at the sides. So there are like hardened military structures that would be like a lot of concrete and underground. And it might look something like this, but exactly whether this is that, I don't know. Once again, it doesn't look like anything that I can recognize. Another big concrete tube could be a stormwater drain. I mean, there would be a huge stormwater drain if it looks like this. But in a big city, you might have a few really big stormwater drains. This doesn't look like a stormwater drain, though. First of all, you have a big outlet to let the water out. You have more pipes coming in and more pipes going out. And there's not enough pipes for that to make sense. I mean, there are a few holes, and you might think, oh, those are pipes. Maybe the stormwater comes in those pipes. But then the water has to go out somewhere. And there's nowhere for the water to go out. So probably not a storm drain, but you could get something like that. That's kind of vaguely shaped like this. So yeah, so there's a number of explanations that I can think of, but none of them fit perfectly. So I'm not entirely sure what exactly this is. And it doesn't make too much sense. It's most likely a cooling tower. Or at least it's inspired by a cooling tower, especially since it sits on these steel legs like this. But if it is a cooling tower, it's not exactly right. It's not exactly correct. Anyway, so that's this concrete cylinder that's not really important to the gameplay, but architecturally it's kind of interesting. It's a bit of a puzzle. Alright, so going into the level, we have a yacht, and we are on a pier or a dock or something. I mean, it's kind of cut off, right? Because we're building this thing inside a cylinder. I'm guessing this is some sort of pier, and the yacht is docked up. We have some buildings here. Let me just walk up close to these things. Everything is plywood and unfinished. So the idea is that for training purposes, they would mock up these locations in unfinished plywood, and it's supposed to be temporary and for training purposes only, right? And these buildings don't really do anything. In fact, I'm not even sure there are stairs. Yeah, no, there aren't even stairs for you to go upstairs. They're just shapes, basically. The interesting part is the yacht itself. Although, hold on, let me just come over here. There is a garage. Even though it's a training facility, they've put in lighting, a lighted signage. That's kind of cool. So back here we have, well, I mean, the garage doesn't have a roof. The garage doesn't have a roof, but it has wheels decorating the walls. It's a very curious choice, right? Over there's a staff entrance. There's a toilet here too. So in the game, the tutorial teaches you to knock this guy out and steal his outfit. And you would like drag him into the toilet, hide him in the cabinet. So there's like, if you're wondering like why is there a toilet back here, that's why. It's for gameplay purposes. It wouldn't make too much sense in the real world. Let me just take a yacht, look at the yacht. So the yacht, the front is over there, the front of the boat. Out that way, and the back of the boat is out that way. And it looks like that from the side. Okay, let me go back out. I do have a plan for how I want to go about this. Excuse me. So let's go up the front entrance, so to speak.
You seen Ramon? No? Probably sleeping in a closet somewhere.
The main entrance, we go up the stairs and we go directly onto the main deck here. And if we step back to the back of the boat, the stern, I think, I'm not a boat expert, we have a bar, and then we have a bit of a lounge area out here, or like a deck area out here, with a lot of people. There's a lot of people here. There's some sort of party going on, I guess, although it seems to be a lot of people. So when you're on a boat, you're not supposed to have more people than there are lifeboats slash life vests, and I think there are more people here than there are lifeboats. So I don't think it's safe to do this, but we are docked up, so I guess it doesn't matter too much. And then if we move up, oh, I should probably go down here, because behind the bar, or in front of the bar, towards the front of the boat, we have kitchen. Look at that. A kitchen area. It's a pretty big kitchen for a boat, for a yacht. It's not really well mocked up. There's a few benches, but it's kind of unfinished. So with a kitchen this big, you would expect to be cooking for a lot of people. How many people are we looking at? Like at least 20, 30 people. So if you were intending to entertain a lot of guests on your yacht, you would have a big kitchen like this. Otherwise, because like on a boat, we have to remember that space is premium on a boat. Usually boats have really narrow corridors, really narrow staircases, and really narrow rooms, or really small rooms, because, you know, you want to fit everything inside the boat. Whereas if we look around on this yacht, all the spaces are kind of big, and there's like double corridors. There's like inside corridor and outside corridor, so it's a little extravagant. Part of it is because it's a super yacht for a really rich person, so this person just has a really ginormous yacht for no reason other than to show off. But also it's for gameplay purposes, right? If the spaces are too small, you can't move around and you can't do your assassination thing. And so for gameplay purposes, you need big spaces. Back here you have toilets. One toilet there, two toilets there.
Find another spot, buddy. This is
Okay,
taken, okay?
Alright, fine. Let's not disturb him. Let's look at this toilet. It's huge. Look at the size of this toilet. And there's like a whole cabinet in here. So, like an actual toilet would be a third this size, right? If you think about it, you would have the sink, and you have, you know, the toilet itself. Maybe half to a third the size would be the size of a real toilet. But again, the purpose of toilets in the game, in the video game, is you can like lure people in here and knock them out and hide them in the cabinet. And to do that, you need enough space to fit several people in here and knock them out. So for gameplay purposes, we need big toilets. And for narrative purposes, I guess we're saying that this person just has so much money that they have a giant, luxurious toilet inside their yacht. But really, you wouldn't expect something like this. Okay, so now we're at the front of the yacht. There's a bit of a storage area. You'll notice there's body bags on the ground. Don't worry about those. I had to get rid of some guards so that we can look at the yacht in peace. We have a lounge area. We have chairs, a lot of people. And then at the front, we have a swimming pool, kind of. We'll pretend this is a swimming pool, but it's just plywood. And there's the front of the boat. Nice. Very luxurious. So that's the main deck. Let's go downstairs into the lower deck. And again, we'll start at the back of the boat, right? Let me just run back here real quick. We'll get back to this soon enough. So, at the very back of the yacht, we have what's known as a swim platform. So this platform opens out pretty much at water level. It's called a swim platform because if you're out at sea and you want to go swimming, you would jump off here. And I guess if you have a smaller boat like that, wanting to get onto the bigger boat, you would get on here. The swim platform being so low and close to the water, if the sea is a bit choppy, the water would wash onto the swim deck. And so you probably wouldn't put chairs here because you would lose them. If there's any storms, or if there's waves in the ocean, you would lose the chairs because it just wash off, right? So you probably wouldn't have deck chairs on the swim deck, at least not permanently, right? If the weather's nice, you might temporarily move them out here and enjoy the sun, but probably not. You probably wouldn't do this. Out here at the back, this is odd. So the boat is supposed to end here, but for some reason there's a little platform and they've left this open. I think this is meant to be backstage. I think you're just not supposed to come back here. Like, this is not part of the training level, although in the game it's part of the training level. I think implied that this is not part of the ICA training because there's no reason why this is open on this side. You might say, okay, well maybe the boat has like a door on the side that opens up so you can load cargo in. Okay, that can happen. But if you're loading cargo in, you're on the wrong side. You would load cargo in the other side. Like, this side is the water side, but you're not loading cargo in from this side. So I don't know why this is open. Although funny thing is, that's the sun, or those are lights pretending to be the sun in this scenario. And also out there are speakers. And the speakers are playing water and ship sound, so we're pretending we're out in the ocean. Actually, they're just speakers. Isn't that funny? Alright, so everything here is fake. Everything is just a mock-up, cardboard and fake. Okay, so coming in from the swim deck, we have a storage room. Well, I was gonna say it makes sense, but it kinda doesn't. Because the swim deck is part of the public or the living part of the boat. So the boat is a machine, but it's also like a house in a way. You know, like it's a house at sea. You have like your bedrooms, your kitchens, your dinings. And then the swim deck is kind of like it's kind of like part of the entertainment areas. But then to get from the entertainment area back into the ship, you have to go through the storage. And that doesn't really make sense. You might want to have like a staircase closer to the swim deck, I guess. Although there are parts of this boat that you can't access, like here, look at this. That wall ends there. Maybe there should be a staircase here, going up. Because you wouldn't want to go through the storage area to get to the swim deck. Anyway, storage area makes sense. Although in the real boat, you probably have a lot more stuff in here. And a lot more shelves. And then moving into the middle of the ship, we have engine room, right? And inside the engine room, there's a plywood mock-up of what looks kind of like an engine. Very nice. The engine is right in the middle of the ship, that makes sense. I'm assuming the engine is in line with the propeller, and since there's only one engine, I'm guessing there's only one propeller. This is a really wide ship, by the way. I didn't really mention this earlier. If you look at the width of the ship versus the length, it's kind of like a wide, stubby ship. Right? It's kind of wide and not very long. So it's built for entertainment, it's built for luxury, it's not built for speed. This thing is not fast. And there's only one propeller, and the engine is not very big either. So it's not built for speed. It's a slow...
I need to talk to the boss man about these uniforms again. This polyester's sticking to my...
Alright, dude. So it's a slow luxury platform and not a fast yacht. Also, the engine room is kind of dark, which might be a safety hazard, right, with the machinery and all that. Before we go to the front of the boat, off to the side we have staff quarters. We have 2 beds there, a bit of a staff room here, and then on the other side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus the 2 on the other side, so there's 10 beds. There's a total of 10 beds for staff. Presumably that means there are 10 permanent staff on the yacht, right? So 10 if you count, like, you'd have like a engineering crew to keep the ship running, you have the captain, navigation, chef, and then a few cooking and cleaning, or the chef is cooking, cleaning staff. So you add everything up, about 10, maybe a bit of security as well. So 10 people permanent staff. At the moment there's more than 10 staff on the boat, but I guess some of that is temporary security for the party. Alright, so further up towards the front of the boat, we're back here again. This is where the garage was. The loading bay is there, so this part of the boat, it does open at the side and you can drive a car down there. Very cool. We can't get any further up to the front of the ship though, so the swimming pool is over there. Presumably in a real ship there'll be more storage space beyond here, but we can't access that in the game. Alright, so let's get back upstairs and go up to the bridge deck. So usually on a super yacht, the standard plan is you have like the lower deck, the main deck, the bridge deck, and the sun deck. Usually that's like a standard yacht. And this more or less follows the same pattern, although once we get up here you'll notice something a little bit different. So what they call deck 2 is usually the bridge deck. At the back here, another lounge area. Right, there's a lot of people and a lot of open space.
Crew, huh?
Another lounge area, another bar. Right, so there's 2 bars, this is the second bar. And more space for parties.
Are you a real cop?
Most of this ship is just space for parties. And if we come up from the back, we have another toilet.
sir.
There's a lot of toilets. Again, and a huge toilet. Look at the size of this thing. You can fit like 3 toilets in this space. You can easily fit 3 toilets in this space. But there's only 1 here. Again, like, On a real ship, any ship, space is premium. And like you would not have a giant corridor like this. This is a nothing space, it's just a corridor.
Eyes open, sir.
And you wouldn't have a giant toilet like this. So this is a... They're wasting a lot of space is what I'm trying to say. But again, for gameplay purposes, you need big spaces, because if you get into a firefight, or if you get into any sort of combat, or if you're trying to like lure people around and assassinate them in secret,
Security is tight today.
you need enough space to work with for the gameplay, right?
Security.
Back here we have private. So this is the private room of the owner of the yacht. And we have like a sort of an office here. And we have a bedroom here. A big double bed. So this being a big double bed is okay because it's a luxury yacht. The private quarters is luxurious. The private quarters is kind of in the wrong place though, because this is usually where the bridge is on a yacht, and not just here, but let me just go outside. The bridge would be here, and also the bridge would be further forward and all the way to the edge of the ship. And the reason for that is, from the bridge you need really good visibility, right? Because the bridge is where you pilot the ship, and you need to see what's going on around the ship. And so, let me just go back inside. You would need to go all the way out to the edge, because from here you can't see what's at the side of the boat. Like when you're coming into dock, right? You have, you know, the pier, and then you kind of bring your boat in. You need to see how far away you are as you're kind of piloting the ship. Otherwise, you might just crash into the dock. So that's why the bridge usually will stick out, either right up to the edge of the ship or even beyond the edge of the ship. Some bridges go beyond the edge of the ship, and you can lean out and see the entire side of the ship. Just to, you know, when you're maneuvering the ship, you can see what's going on. And from here, you would want to, like, again, have this stick out and see more of the ship. But this is not the bridge on this ship. So that's already strange. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about this again after I finish the tour of this yacht. Just keep that in mind, right? So there is the swimming pool again, and then there's the front of the yacht. Alright. So this is the bridge deck, supposedly. At the very top we have what's usually the sun deck. So the sun deck is just like an open deck where you can sunbathe. On this yacht they have, it's not stare in the sun. On this yacht they have a helicopter and a helipad. Very extravagant. I mean, you're not just rich enough to have a giant yacht, you also have a helicopter. It doesn't look like the helicopter is permanently stationed on the yacht though, because there's no hangar facility, right? I guess you could tie it down, but that's not... like, you wouldn't want to do that in a storm, right? So I think the helipad is just for you to temporarily land the helicopter and get on the yacht, and it's not really for you to keep a helicopter on the yacht at all times. But there is a helipad here, and I guess if the helicopter's not here, you can sunbathe here. We have, I think these are life rafts. Yeah, these are life rafts. Inflatable life rafts, or they would be if they were a real ship and not a cardboard and plywood mock-up. There's only 2 of these though, and as I said, there's way too many people to fit on the life rafts. So if we weren't docked up, this would be incredibly unsafe to have a party this size. Now here is the bridge of the ship, apparently. The problem is you can't see anything. Look at this. First of all, the sides you can't see, so you can't see the sides of the yacht. At the back, I guess you can just walk out there and see the back. The front of the yacht, you can't see the front of the yacht at all. You can't see the front of the yacht at all. How can you pilot the ship if you can't see the front? Like, if you're like, you're crashing into things and you can't even see what's going on. So this part of the yacht makes absolutely no sense. There's no way you can put a bridge here in a real yacht, because you can't see anything. How can you pilot? You can't see where you're going. So what I think happened is they took some liberties with the layout of the yacht for gameplay purposes. In the game, you're supposed to assassinate the owner of the yacht, and the easiest way is to, or the canon way, is to lure him into a private meeting in his quarters and assassinate him. And so for gameplay reasons, they need to put the private quarters here because this is private and you're mostly concealed from all the other people. I think in a real yacht, the bridge would be here. It would extend out, so you have better visibility, and I think the main quarters would be back here instead. But again, for gameplay reasons, they chose to switch that around and have a different layout. Which, I mean, okay, I get it. It's a video game, it's not a real yacht. But if you're paying attention and you really think about it, it kind of breaks immersion a little bit, you know what I mean? When you take liberties like this. Anyway, so this is the whole yacht. Let me, actually, what should I want to do? I do want to go back. I did talk about how wide this yacht is. Where are the stairs? I'm lost. I'm lost. Okay, stairs are there. Let me go out the back. I talked about how wide the yacht was, right? Let me just take a look quickly again, for comparison's sake. So the yacht is this wide versus this long. It's about what, twice as long as it's wide? It can't be. 1, 2, 3 times? 3 times as long as wide. Let me just kind of visualize the proportions of the yacht. It's kind of fat. What I'm saying is, it's kind of fat. But yeah. So it's not built for speed. It's built for luxury. So that is the first tutorial area of the game. We have a concrete drum. I don't know what that means. Like why? I don't know what this is. The concrete drum. But we are in a secret hidden training facility where we have mocked up a plywood yacht for you to practice assassinating someone. Anyway, let me get out of this area. We do have to assassinate our target. What's that say? Eliminate Calvin Ritter, right. So let me go ahead and eliminate Calvin Ritter. Oh, there he is. And let me get out of here, and I'll see you in the next training area, which is also going to be a plywood mock-up. Alright, I'll see you there.
Once again, great work, Initiate. This exercise is available for as long as you need. When you are ready to advance, you have only to let us know.
Ah, yes, great work, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of the ICA Training Facility in the architecture of Hitman World of Assassination. So, once again, as before, we are inside a giant concrete cylinder, although this time it's nighttime. And over there we have really bright lights. I think that's supposed to be the moon. Well, they're pretending that's the moon. It's a little too bright though, because if it is nighttime, that's way too bright to be nighttime. Anyway, so for training purposes, we have a really bright light over there. We have Spanish on the signs. According to the story, we are in Cold War Cuba. So Cuba, during around the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, I guess. And the story is that the Cubans are hosting the Soviet KGB, who are doing some spy things in this airbase. So I'm not sure if any of that really has any bearing on the gameplay or the architecture, except that we have some palm trees because we're in Cuba. Okay, so we start off out here, and I suppose there's a guard station. This is a little close. The building is a little bit close to the guardhouse, and it's a little bit close to the edge of the facility. Although we're not sure, right? first of all, airfields usually are ginormous because you have a big airstrip. And secondly, if it's a military facility out in the middle of the wilderness, then you have a lot of open space beyond. But usually you want more open space between the outer security wall and your buildings, so that if anyone's invading or just trying to infiltrate your facility, they have to cross more open space, and so then it's easier to see them and catch them and stop them. Whereas if everything's really close together, then they don't have to move very far before they get into your building. So for security purposes, you want to have like a big open space in between the wall and the building. Alright, so we have an aerodrome. Let me walk around the outside of the hangar. You only have one hangar in this level, which is this building, of course. Let me go around the outside. Not too much to say about the exterior. Oh, look at this. So here you see how there's plywood facing on the outside, and then here it's missing the plywood facing, and you see the concrete studs. The studs are the little columns, the vertical things. So you can see the concrete, not the concrete, the wooden structure inside the wall. You usually don't have that exposed. Right? Usually you would cover both sides of the wooden structure with the sheet plywood. This implies that you're not supposed to be back here. You're not supposed to see this side, right? So this is like the backstage area. Remembering that these are plywood mock-ups of the real thing, and it's a fake training facility. And remember, back in the last area in the yacht, the other side of the yacht was open, even though on a real yacht it will be closed. So here, on the outside of the hangar, it's left unfinished. It's because it's only a training facility and it's only temporary, so there's no point finishing the parts that you're not going to see anyway, or you're not supposed to see anyway. And we're not supposed to be outside here, but I'm just going to climb this fence and get inside because it's interesting to see the unfinished part. Look at that. Alright, out here we have some lights on the ground pointing inwards. So this is to illuminate the space, right? In a real building you would have lights on the outside of the walls, but here they didn't spend enough money to do that, to just put some temporary lights on the ground to illuminate the space. Alright, and then out the front of the hangar... Alright, we know what a hangar is. A hangar is basically a massive shed to house planes. And here we have a plane inside. I'll talk about the plane later on. For now, we have lights here. Again, the lights are pointing inwards. This is for gameplay purposes, and I guess for training purposes in the game. In the real world, for security purposes, you would point the lights out, obviously. You wouldn't point the lights at the guards, because I mean the guy. You're the guard, you can't see anything, like you're being blinded by the lights. And so if there's any enemies sneaking around out there, you can't see them because the light's coming straight into your eyes. So this is not how you would set up the lights in a real airfield and you have real security. You would have the lights pointing outwards. But anyway, so this is entirely for for gameplay purposes. And this is not how you do it for real. Back here, there's also not any plywood out here, again implying that this is not part of the training. And out here, again, there's no plywood facing on the outside. Alright, let's get around here. We have some miscellaneous storage. I wouldn't... We're in Cuba, right? Cuba is tropical, right? I wouldn't store things outdoors in Cuba. Unless it doesn't mind being rained on. For gameplay purposes, just to let you know, you would sneak around back here. You can sneak behind these boxes, and the guards, if you're careful, they won't see you. So that's why there are boxes here. Again, in the game, they're there for gameplay purposes. In the real world, you wouldn't leave boxes lying around outdoors in Cuba, because everything would get completely rained on. Okay, another security point Alright, so that's the outside. Let's go ahead and get into the hangar and take a look around. This is the front door with 2 guards, how appropriate. Ah, the Cuban flag. And we have the lobby, I suppose. We have a front desk. And a waiting area. So this is supposed to be a military facility. And for a military facility, it's a really big lobby. Because if it's just a military airbase, you would think that they would be more efficient with their space. A big lobby like this would be for impressing special guests. And you wouldn't have special guests in a hangar like this. So it's a little strange that the lobby is this big. And in fact, as we look around, we have like a rest area with a TV, right? And then that's part of the rest area as well. And then over here we have a nothing space. Like, what is this room? There's nothing space. Another rest area. Keep this in mind. So in here we have is this recreational space? Is that what that means? I don't speak Spanish. I think this means like rest space or recreation space. We have a kitchen. Alright, that makes sense. I mean, we have a lot of staff here, a lot of soldiers. We have a bit of dining. And then here we have a drinking room. I think it's supposed to be some sort of storage area, but the soldiers are drinking here. And then back here we have toilets. Again, massive toilets. You can fit at least 4 toilets in this space, but they only have 2. Alright, so you have toilets, dining, and let me keep walking around. If we come over here, this is a stairwell. A massive stairwell, a lot of wasted space again. I mean, I bring this up because this is supposed to be a military facility. I just want to like make sure you understand this. Military is supposed to be about efficiency and function. And so having this much just nothing space where it's not being used is really a waste of space. Now, having said that, we are in Cuba, we're in an airfield, we are not crowded for space. But still, it's like, it's wasted space. Why would you do that? Back here we have storage for, I guess, spare parts and maintenance material for the aircraft. And then more storage. So this makes sense. A lot of storage. Because aircraft do require substantial maintenance, right? And then the main hangar area, this is pretty plausible. We have the roof on rafters, right? Curved roof, big open space for the plane. Oh, the plane itself, I forgot which model this is, but this is a jet with variable geometry wings. So the wings can kind of they kind of sweep back and fold forward. At the moment they're swept back, so this is in supersonic flight configuration. Well, supersonic flight or storage configuration. During a subsonic flight, takeoff and landing, you would kind of extend the wings out. So if you're looking at this and you think, wow, hey, the wings don't seem to be wide enough. Like, look how narrow this thing is when the wings are folded back. And that's because it's in supersonic flight mode. So we have a jet here, very cool. And then on the other side of the hangar, we have lockers. Alright. Oh, you'll notice that there's no showers. There's lockers, but there's no showers. Ah, yeah, there's a lot of stinky men in this airfield. There should be showers. Maybe this should be showers, but it's not. I don't know what this is supposed to be. More storage? Anyway, they need showers in this facility. Alright, coming back here, another staircase. Another recreation area. This guy's sitting around watching TV, although the TV's not even on. And then this is back at the lobby. Alright, so we went around in a circle around the hangar. Have you noticed how much recreational space there is in a military facility? Not a hotel, right? Not a resort. It's a military facility
Nice threads, buddy.
with a lot of TVs and a lot of sitting around doing nothing. Okay, so upstairs above the lobby we have offices. So usually you would probably not have so many office desks in a hangar in an airfield. Except remember what I said before about the KGB setting up a station here in Cuba. So I think what's going on here is that the KGB have set up an intelligence station here. And so this is not how you usually use a hangar, but it's basically a clandestine spy facility, and they have a lot of paperwork to do because they're spying on people. So this would not make sense in an actual air base, but since they're using this as a spy base, we do need offices. At the front of the hangar there's a bit of a balcony here. Again, a lot of nothing space. So in gameplay, in terms of gameplay, you can sneak up the building. You can like climb up the scaffolding here, like this stuff. You can like climb. Well, I mean, you can climb. Wait, no, you can't climb. You can climb. Oh, you can't climb this? I thought you can. Never mind. You can climb those stairs, I guess. But you can like get up the side of the building without going inside, and that's part of the infiltration gameplay that you are allowed to do. Or you can climb up some of this, I think. Hold on, not there, not there. Well, I remember this wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, in a real hangar, there's really no reason to do this because you would probably just have the roof cover the whole thing. Have the roof cover the whole thing and just come straight down, right? Because, okay, look, so architecture lesson. Every time you have a junction between two parts, you have to worry about the rain getting in the seam, right? So when you have a roof on a wall, well, usually you overlap the roof a little bit, so the rain doesn't get in the wall. The rain will kind of slide off, right? But what's going on here, if I kind of step up, let me just step up these stairs a little bit and show you. So there's the ground there, the wall, a balcony, another wall, another balcony, another wall, and then the roof. So you have like roof, wall, roof, wall. And every time you do this, every time, like, you have to worry about the water coming in, or you have to worry about water coming in the edge there. You have to waterproof this, and waterproofing is a real pain in the ass. The less of that you do, the better it is. So it's a lot simpler to waterproof the building if it's just a roof and a wall, versus a roof and a wall and a balcony and a wall and a balcony and a wall. So again, you know, for efficiency reasons and for maintenance reasons and for like upkeep reasons, you don't want complex shapes in the military facility. You know what I mean? Like, the simpler the geometry, the easier it is to keep everything waterproof and running and not leaking. But again, like for gameplay purposes, you can understand that there's more interesting spaces and there's more walls and nooks and crannies for you to hide and assassinate people. So it makes sense for gameplay reasons to make this building unnecessarily complicated, because then you have, you know, more things to do. But in a real hangar usually is just real basic. It's just a shed. In fact, a lot of times you don't even have extra room for storage. It's just an open, a big one giant room, and you just have storage along the sides and a plane in the middle, and there's no walls. Because walls is money, man. Walls cost money to build. Why would you spend money when you don't have to, right? But if you did that in a video game, how would you sneak around? You can't, because there's no walls. There's no rooms to hide in. So you know, there's this conflict between what makes sense in reality and what makes sense for the game. So in order for this to make sense for the game, they do make this unnecessarily complicated, and there's a lot of spaces that wouldn't be here otherwise. We have another rest area Another TV! What do these soldiers do all day? Just sit around and watch TV? Of course not! They don't just sit around and watch TV! Where's the armory? Where are the weapons stored? Like, where are the actual function? So there's a lot of functional bits that aren't here, and then there's a lot of recreational space that shouldn't be here, but they are here, right? And that's because, again, there's this conflict between gameplay and what a real military hangar would actually look like. Up here we have the commander's office, Commandante. The commander's office is quite large, rather large. You would say it's unnecessarily large, except that they do have a table here with maps. So I guess this is not just the office, this is also the war room. You would have meetings here with your generals and talk about war. So if this is also a meeting room, then okay, it's the right size. It's I don't know if it's right that the commander's office is also the war room, but I guess you can do that. The commander also has a private toilet, which is cool, right? Especially since there's no showers. You don't want to be with all your stinky men who don't take showers. Why aren't there showers? I don't know. Alright, so coming through here, through the main hangar area to the other side. Oh, this is the KGB office again. Back here we have a pile of boxes here for no reason. Not sure why these boxes are here, or why there's an empty space here. And then over here we have a radio room. That's the radio. Oh, there's no radio machinery outside, by the way. I mean, there's the speaker and microphone there, but you would need an antenna as well. I don't see any antennas. Maybe I missed it. So you would have like big radio antennas, and then the radio room. I guess this is fine. I mean, again, this is like another rest area. There's too many rest areas in this hangar. I would expect like more office desks and more paperwork storage. Because like you see a bunch of maps here, right? I guess the maps are stored there. I would expect more storage. Just a lot more storage for intercepted radio and like more maps and then just more stuff. Anyway, that's not a big deal. Okay. So that's the second floor. We can go upstairs again into the roof area up here. So up on the roof there's a whole lot of nothing space, and I don't know if this storage is meant to be representative of the real building. Again, in the real building you would just have the roof extend all the way to the edge, and you wouldn't have this roof area because like waterproofing, man. Like, how would you keep this waterproof? It's a real pain in the ass. But they put the roof area here because you see these guards. I don't know what these people are guarding, but the idea is you can sneak up here, sneak past these guards, and assassinate your target through the roof. There's a skylight here, and you can shoot your target from here. Like, I don't know why there's a skylight here again. A lot of things that don't really make sense if this was a real hangar, but they put here so you have more gameplay options, right? So we have walkways above the hangar. Again, you can like sneak around and just observe people, actually. Because a big part of Hitman, the game, is you like watch what your target does. Your target usually has a routine, and you just see where your target moves, and then you plan how to assassinate him, right? So like hidden walkways up here, just to give the player ways to observe and plan. So that's a big part of the game. Like in a real hangar, would you have walkways near the roof? Probably not. You might have cranes up here, because you might need to lift heavy equipment, like you know, you might need to lift like engine parts for the plane and all that. So you might have cranes up here? Not sure about walkways though. Right. So again, on the other side, more nothing space up here for no reason. And more nothing space out here. Right. So again, you know, like the yacht, we can see in these buildings like the conflict between what makes sense in the game and what makes sense in reality. And some of the stuff doesn't really make sense in reality. Like there's too many like sofas and TVs. Alright, and then the rafter space, not much happening up here. Except that we can assassinate our target. Oh wait, no, he just moved away. Alright, well let's wait a bit. I do have other things to say while we wait for him. The red guy is the our target. I guess that's the whole level. Yeah, that's the whole level. Yeah, so a real military facility really would be much simpler and much more efficient than this. Like the shape of this is way more complex than you would expect for a simple aircraft hangar. There's really no reason why the roof doesn't just extend all the way to the edge of the buildings and it's just one big box, right? Except it would be boring in terms of gameplay. Yeah. Alright, well, nothing else to do except to assassinate our target and then finish the video. Well, how should I do this? I was gonna drop the light on him as he walked past, but I missed him and now he's gonna slowly hang out here. Is he going back? I think he's going back. There's no explosives on this map, by the way. I would have set up the bomb to make this easier if there were. Okay, he's coming back. Let me just finish this real quick. And drop that there.
Target down. You did it. Now head towards an exit.
Okay, so let us get out of here. And that's the ICA Training Facility, or that's as much of it as we can see in the game, but there's no door back here, my bad. Starting from the next video, we will go to actual exotic locations with actual interesting architecture. But for now, I will end this video here. See you next time in Paris.
Congratulations, Agent. You are cleared for field duty.
Gotta stay for the fanfare, right?